everyone, this is Carolina and welcome to another So Easy Sunday. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this fun flower that I made out of felt. This picture here on this card. The grass is also made out of felt, as are the leaves. And it's a really fun project that you can use on cards, you can use on 3D items. And for my card here, I actually went ahead and put the sentiment on the inside because it didn't really fit on the outside, but it's a fun little thing they can find. Another die used here was the cloud to sponge, the grass at the bottom, but today I'm going to be focusing on the flower, the yellow flower I cut out of felt, and then the leaves. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and get started. This is the die I was telling you about. It's called Die-namics Scalloped die, and I use felt to cut it out. So that's how my flower started, and both of these items can be found on the website, which is I put it below. So you want to start off with a thread that's pretty similar in color to your felt. It actually won't show through at all, but just in case you have a little bit showing, it'll actually blend in a little bit better. Then you want to knot the end of your thread. Here I did it a little bit big just so you can see it on camera. You really don't need to have it this big, but again, for camera purposes, I'm showing it to you. Regardless, it's going to go in the back. You won't really see it, so it'll be fine. Then I went ahead and just did a running stitch all the way down the edge of the border here. And as you can tell, I'm not doing it on the scallop side just because it's the scallop is going to allow you to have that little bit of an extra oomph to your flower, give it more of a dimension. You can start gathering at this point. I prefer to do it all at the end and then just go through my whole edge here. As far as how much ribbon, I just kind of guesstimate. Sometimes a little bit more is better. You don't want to run out in the middle of you doing this, because then it'll be a pain to kind of, you pretty much will have to start all over again. So it's just make sure you have enough and not too little. I also try to keep my stitches about the same length. The closer you have them, the tighter the flower, the further away, the looser the flower. It's pretty much what I found out. So when you get to the end, this is where you're going to go ahead and start gathering. Just pull your thread as such. And this is how you see it come together. It's so funny is when I first did this, because I'm doing them in yellow, I think they reminded me of pasta, or maybe I'm hungry, I don't know. But anyways, so this is the flower, and then I just start doing the stitches on the edge, on the beginning and the end edge. And this is why I mentioned that you should have a thread that matches pretty close to the felt you're using, because you will be going in and out at this point. To get those edges, to keep them together so that your flower doesn't fly out. So I think I added about 3 or 4 at this point. And once you get to the end, let's see, let me pull it. And here you can actually start pulling it a little bit more too if you want a tighter flower. Like I said, you know, the closer the stitches, the tighter the flowers. You can also accomplish this by pulling on it. It's quite forgiving. Another little thing I like to add, not necessary, but I just, to make sure the flower stays more secure, I just kind of gather a couple of the edges here. As you can see, maybe 3 or 4 at a time where they gather, and it's just an extra reinforcement for that flower. Since I tend to do a lot of 3D items, a lot of my stuff gets handled a lot. Whether it be, I use it for openings, or I use it on top of boxes, or as I did in my card on top of a ribbon. It's a nice way to make sure that, it doesn't come apart. And so let me just do a couple more, and then I'm just going to head and do a couple of closing ones where you just kind of loop it through itself, and that helps it hold a little tighter. And one more here. And then in a little bit, what I'm going to be doing is adding a button, because that's what it's going to be, kind of a fun thing to put in the middle. So just keep the needle in here with the thread. Don't cut it off yet. And a fun thing to do with your button, which I'm going to be getting here in a second, is put it through your needle. Especially if you have like 4 holes, I just kind of go through one and then through the other like this. so that when you pull it through, it's already kind of centered. And then this way I can also kind of tell where I want my button to be, and it helps me center it a little bit more, as you'll be able to tell in a second. And it will give me the opportunity to move it around a little bit more, as such. Okay, and since this one is a 4-hole, it has 4 holes on the button, then I'm just going to go ahead and do it through the opposite side. And I like to do it twice just so that you can see the thread a little bit better. So there's once, and then again I'm going to go from where I started and go through it again into the back. And every time I'm putting the needle through, I try to capture a little bit of the felt. If you don't, no big deal, the button will stay in place since the thread is already attached to the felt, but this way you're kind of just making sure, again, it stays in place a little bit better. So here, go ahead and turn it around, and you're going to go ahead and knot it off, do a couple of knots into itself so that the button stays. And I actually have a really fun find to want to share with you, and it's scissors. If you sew a lot, you actually will definitely want the scissors. They're little snippets that I found. So here they are. And they're ergonomically correct, which I love. It's funny, as I remember my grandmother having these little black ones, but these ones are so much better. So you basically hold them like this and then snip. And they're actually from Fiskars. They're called thread snips. Appropriate. So anyways, just wanted to share this find with you, since I know there's a lot of people getting into the whole sewing world now. And so that's pretty much your flower. Just fun, easy, and it's another way to use that dye. So not only can you get cute little edge scallops out of them, but you can now make a flower with it too. I love being able to use it for more than one purpose. So of course every flower needs leaves. And the great thing with the felts over on My Favorite Things is that you get a variety of colors. I went ahead and used 2 of the greens, just freehand cut them with my scissors, put them on one on top of the other. You can do either color. I just wanted the more brighter one on top, and then just started, basically made a couple of stitches at the end so that that top part of it would be free. So here I am finishing it off, and going to go ahead and just knot it off so that when you're done, you'll end up with just the top part free, as such. And then you're going to go ahead and attach it to your flower. Just kind of play around with it and see where you want it positioned. And then once you've decided, just go ahead and turn it around and sew it together, and then you'll be done. And you can use these flowers on pretty much anything at all. I just happened to use it on a card. Anyways, thanks so much for joining me today. Hope you have fun making them.